What's up, my friends? It's Camiel Daamen, your online Ableton certified trainer. And we're back with a track breakdown. The new release on Freeborn Records, No Control, and it's on the Amore EP. Sounds like this.
Losing control. Losing control. I'm losing control. Losing control. Losing control. Losing control. Losing control.
And later we got some saxophone. So this is a new release going to be dropping next week. So if you want, support it on the bandcamp, support it on Beatport. Bandcamp may be better, more for me. Yeah, I thought I'd do a little breakdown, go from kick and bass to all the elements, how it came about, what I used, why I'm using certain things, why I'm not using certain things, the master chain, which I have here, which I use to master all the Freeborn Records tracks as well, like most of the actually all of the latest ones I master myself, and I use a lot of stuff, so I'm going to show you this. All right, so what's going on under the hood here? It's I think it started with these keys. These keys are like the beginning, and we have a kick. The kick's very simple. I think it's the Sample Market Candidate kick number 20. Just a good 909. I'm a firm believer. I don't need to EQ my kick, and my kick's nice. You know, I like I did here. I changed a little bit the attack, decay, sustain, release. So I make it a little bit shorter. If it's too long, I make it shorter for it not to be too long. Like boom, right? I shorten it a little bit to make space for the bass. The bass is a sample. It's very simple. It just goes two notes. It just goes two notes, which is nice. You know, it's like a 2-chord song basically, which is chill. And then we have the there's a little bit of here. I can use mixing key, by the way, to. You can see. But basically it goes from E to B. You know, it plays E and B and B and E, and that goes on the whole track, which is nice. So you also know what you can use for your chords or whatnot, you know. You EQ'd a little bit, the low end, you know, I don't really cut the low end anymore these days. Like everything like this, I don't really use that anymore. I try to keep a more natural sound, especially on these more acoustic kind of sounding things. I like to use the shelf more over the low cut. Little dip to make space for the kick. I'm not sure if it worked with something that I didn't mix down. Soot's really nice. The double bass low glue preset. A little bit of let's say mud removal, whatever. I think volume is very important for it. Like it's, you know, I'm mixing pretty soft, pretty low, and something I use on the master is called tonal balance control. I try to stick around within the lines right here. In the end, when I play the full track, this is kind of low. I should have put maybe a little bit more high in the track. I'm like, but you know, it's what it is. Sometimes you're just done with a record, you want to get it out, and potato, tomato. Nobody's gonna notice if you lack 2 dB in your high end. You know, like some people go, oh, I really like the track, but I'm not gonna play it because it's too. You know, they can boost it up a little bit on their mixer anyway if they're a DJ. So don't worry too much if you release something and later you go like, I should have put like 2 dB more in the high end, whatever. It's all just fiddling around. Anyway, so that's the bass. Then we have kick and bass go through the drum bass. I really like this combination. makes it a little bit fuller. Watch out when using the drum bus that you check the meters. So without it and with it. Have to say I'm gaining a little bit of volume here, but you know, it's you usually want to check that you're not going like super loud all of a sudden, because that always sounds better. You know, if you have a few like point something decibels louder, then that should be okay. On the drums, these are the drums. The drum groove is like this, containing and then later we also get like a little top loop. And that together with the kick. Sounds nice. I think it's well balanced, and it's a nice little groove. What I use is this hi-hat. Let me use it with the kick so you know. Just a really nice hi-hat Candidate. I think it's also Candidate. I was very fan of Candidate this period. And I use clipping to clip the sound a little bit. If you're unfamiliar with clipping, C2Stage did a really good video on it, but I'll give you a little rundown of it. So without my K-clip on it, the hi-hat peaks around minus 26.2. But if I turn K-clip on, it's minus 29. So I gain around 3 decibels of more sort of like headroom in a way, right? The sound's softer, but you don't really hear. Right, it takes away a little bit of the instant transient. If you clip something, you're losing those transients. I'm using this on quite a lot of hi-hats actually, also on the second one. So we have this one. Right, I layer a second one, and this one also has K-clip. So if we look for this one, I'm using 13.3 dB of boost in, but out I'm taking that same stuff away. So you end up with the same, right? So it's the same, but you're clipping it. And because you're clipping the signal, what happens is that if I play this hi-hat without, it's minus 24.2. If I play it with, minus 26.8. So here as well, 2 dB, here 3 dB. All of this goes to the master, and you have less decibels in the end on your master. So you can go louder into your limiter, and thus giving you louder end result. Clipping is really, really important to get louder mixes. Now, some people work with analog gear, therefore people say analog gear sounds so nice. Why is that? Well, because most of that stuff is going through analog stuff, and it's being saturated, so it doesn't have all these transients that we have in this digital realm with these samples and stuff. I think it's something like this. I'm not really sure, but I was trying to help a friend with that makes everything analog. We're trying to help him with the mix, but the clipping did nothing on nothing. So I think if you work analog, that's what you have. You don't have all these like spikes that we have in digital, right? So this clipping is really, really nice to use. So I use one hi-hat. It's just an upbeat hi-hat. Normally the hi-hat's like loud, soft, loud, soft, loud, soft. You know, that to get this bounce a little bit. I really like that bounce. I do it on both of them. Then the third one, it's a little fast swing hi-hat. I use the groove pool for this. Groove pool. I use the swing 1666, and then the timing is around 59% because I don't want to swing it too much. Sometimes it depends on how much swing I want, how much jacking I want it to be, or like swingy. Then I use more, but now it was just that, and it's this is the hi-hat. It's like a short little. It's sweet, like little MPC 6808 hat. I think it's a Gold Baby sample pack that I got this from. Old school Gold Baby MPC pack. Right, it's nice. Then we have the shakers to add a little bit of accents. Also swung. Also a little bit variation in velocity. Then we have the clap, which is layered, I believe. No, it's just one. It's just one. Just doing this. Then we have the main conga. I don't know where I got this from. SP128 old school conga, alt mic. Yeah, I love these old school congas. Tiggering, tiggering. And then I layered some other congas. Right, so this one is just adding accents. I tuned him a little bit with the pitch, -1. And this guy, I also pitched down -1. So basically I just pitched them both down to make him sound nicer, more in key with my song. Then I got this top loop, which is actually on itself use the low shelf, yeah, to add a little bit of groove. I don't know where I got this from. LB, I don't have a clue, but it's nice. It's like for me, it adds a little bit this dirty vibe to it, you know. Adds a little bit more groove. It's a little bit sloppy. I don't know. I just really liked that vibe. Then I also have another top loop, which is really, I think this is from the old school 90s no kick loops. A little snippet. Yeah, this is just only high end, right? So this is really nice to add as well in the drums to have. It really enhances it. Really enhances the hi-hats in the group, right? So that makes a really nice flow together. The clap also goes to the K clip, by the way. Takes away a lot of the peaks that we have. I didn't use it on the congas. On the congas, I used a little bit of glue compression. No, just like not really glue compression, just like really taking away. It's taking away this little tack tack on the beginning, also to maintain a little bit the peaks, I guess. Let's see, let's see what happens if I take it off. -29.3. It's getting louder. -28. Yeah, it's getting louder, but I have the feeling it's sounding a little less open. I don't know. Maybe I thought it was a little bit ticky or something. I don't know. You know, there's method to the madness, guys. I think probably. Yeah. So these are these congas. Yeah. We had this main conga. I just EQ'd a little bit. I used this for the fade in. The shakers have nothing. Highs have nothing. Highs have nothing. Nothing there. You know, it's only clipping. I don't really EQ all the low end out. I'm not like I'm not doing that stuff. Like maybe if I make something more melodic or something more progressive house, or you know. But I sometimes like to make something different. And if it needs more polishing, it's polished. But if you make house, I don't think you really need to polish everything. Back in the days, these guys didn't have an EQ on every channel either. Anyway, you know, so they weren't like EQing everything, so why would I? You know, if it sounds good, it's probably good. The keys, the keys are so nice.
Losing control.
So I made them a little bit dirty. These are the originals, right? So I make them a little bit more AMI with the keys dirty dub, and maybe I changed it. I don't know if I changed the preset. It's just from Ableton's Roar. Oh, right. This is normal. It's dirty. Really nice. There's a little bit of modulation also, right? So basically, I think it's the shaper that gets the amount, this guy. So it makes it like a little bit wonky, which is nice. And I think that creates like the more analog-y kind of feel. Then I've filtered it to make the track a little bit like, make it move every time this comes up, and then at the drop it goes back down again, right? Little EQ, make it a little bit brighter, and then here at the drop, right? It's nice when it goes back down. I think you can do a lot with making things brighter and duller. It's something I teach my students always. If you make something brighter and duller, it starts to move. It's like life, it's like in motion. It makes things longer, shorter, brighter, duller. For people that have watched my or that follow my courses, I teach this a lot. Like you can really, really, really like do a lot with just changing the modulating sounds over time and making a track that's basically very minimal in sounds. Make it very, very engaging over the long run, just by using some filters and modulation stuff. The trumpet is a sample. Send a little bit to the reverbs here. Like this is dry, like this is with the reverb. I always have a small verb, which is more for drums, 495 milliseconds, a little bit high cut, pretty standard stuff. Then the medium reverb is like around 2-3 seconds, also a little bit high cut. And, sometimes I send it to both because, it just feels nice. It's like adding like a little bit of salt and pepper, and if it sounds good, it sounds good, Nice. I use a little delay at the end of the transition when I go back into the Rhodes, where I actually play the answer to the sax. You get this little tan here. So that's done by sending the last note. I open the gates, basically the last hit of the last note. I send to this delay on E, which is a echo, and I usually automate a little bit the feedback. Oh, I don't know why I'm automating it when the track's done. Sometimes I do that actually. I automate the if I want to make the delay really long, I automate the feedback while it's delaying here to make it long. But in this case, I didn't do that. So false alarm, guys. Okay. So then that's the trumpet. Nothing. It's just, when it's a good sample, I sometimes check a little bit if it's really in key. Like you can trust your ears, but also see what notes it's playing. If it's all like sort of like fitting a little bit. If not, if it sounds good, sounds good. Don't worry too much about the mixing key stuff. Lately I've been really like just listening, and back in the day they also used to play chords in all kinds of fashions and things, and if it's sometimes a little bit dissonant, it could also be nice if you resolve it in a nice way. So don't worry too much about everything needing to be strictly in key. Just have fun creating stuff that's also a little bit like, ooh, that's tense. It's all jazz in the end, guys. This is actually very based on jazzy stuff. All right, the Rhodes. So this is actually a nice story. I was like, okay, I need to play something. So what I do? I just put it all the way down to like, all right, like this is easy. So if I connect my my controller actually, come on, computer. Oh yeah, here. So I went. Right, so if I'm in like E minor, I'm like, I have a lot of latency now because I'm recording, but it's like, and if you're like slow, you're like, okay, right? So I always like to say, you know what, I'm gonna make it slower, and then I play these two parts. It's two different parts. I did a lot of jams to make it work. This is the preset, Studio EP. Like that's sort of the first question and answer. Then you got like losing control.
Losing control.
was the whole jam. I also had like a whole jam I did. And every time when it stops, it takes the vocal takes over. And I think using these, you got sex, Rhodes, sex, vocal, Rhodes, vocal, right? So it's constantly taking over. And then here you got one more time the sex. So it's constantly taking over from one sound, takes over from the other, right? And it's like that's when you're making a bit more minimal sounds. Is you can have one sound when that sound drops, you can have the other sound take over. I think I really like to use that sort of like technique, if you call it, like, it's nice to do. And this is the other thing that I like to use. I just jam. I just put the BPM totally slow, and I start like jamming until I have like a bunch of jams, and then it's hard sometimes to find the right bits, and you also have to sort of like, I'm not the best piano player. I know a little bit like how to do a bunch of scales, like mostly the minor pentatonic, but it's nice to jam on your track, and it's put the tempo really low and just jam and just have fun, and then for me, I'm really proud and happy that I made this thing with like the thing. It's nice, when it comes out, you think, oh, it sounds actually pretty cool. It works with the track. Why not do it? It goes to the small verb and the medium verb, which is nice. I didn't put anything in the music bus. Sometimes I saturate the music bus a little bit with like a roar or like a saturator or the sound toy stuff. But yeah, I didn't really put a lot of stuff on it. On the drums, actually, I did put like SPL Transient Designer, which is nice. Makes it a little bit more snappy. Makes it just slightly a little bit more snappy. Then the drum bus, to just make it a little bit more, add a little tone. Make it a little bit more. And then the soothe, really for the harsh hi-hat a little bit, Well, I hardly hear any difference, but yeah, that's also the thing when mixing, you don't go in there, you do, okay, I'm going to do this. But, I actually like don't do a lot these days. I keep the sound like pretty raw, and I like that sound. It's I'm a big fan of also like for instance like cab drivers. They once saw a video on them. They just do everything through through their machines. Goes to the mixing desk. I don't even know if they maybe EQ it a little bit, but they take the master out from the desk and that's it. They don't really and that's something that we have in Ableton. We have so much option that. Actually, if you just have like good sounds, I think good sound selection and good patterns, it sounds like good music. And, there's no bad music that was mixed so good that it became good music. But there's a lot of good music that even though it was mixed bad, everybody is still playing it. So don't worry too much about the whole mixing game. The vocal was a little bit out of key. Actually, thank you, Josh. Josh Butler just told me this. I sent it to him. And there was a point, actually, I think the third one or the fourth one, she was out of key. So I set this auto shift on there.
Losing control, losing control, losing control.
That one.
Losing control.
And this just corrects it perfectly. You can set the scale here, E minor. Just have it fix it dry wet 100%. It's perfect, And so I fixed that. I add a little brightness to her voice. That's basically all I did with the vocal because, it's a sample from some loop cloud. So, these are going to be sounding amazing. You don't need to like put all kinds of compressors on that one. Unless you can hear there's a lot of variety in whatever in the volume. You want to make it a little bit more constant. But for the rest, I don't use a lot of compression. Effect sounds, boom, a really nice 9, like it's like a crash splash, not really 909. I don't really know. Sounds good. Subtle in the background, not too much. I don't like to use it every, if you use it every like 16, 32, whatever, it's gonna be a little bit too much. I use it only on some points. I like to, or there's not much else. I just like it, but that's also a matter of taste. I don't like to use a lot of like things. Here we got the texture. You know, got a nice little texture going on. I usually chorus it a little bit, EQ the low end out of it. Yeah, here, because it's like a needle. Right, this low end I really want to take off, so that's nice. Yeah, that's basically it, guys. That's it. Then on the master chain, look at this master chain, man. I have the Pro Q working for this high end. It needed to be cut. Now, yeah, sometimes I cut the high end because we don't hear anything above 16K anyway. But yeah, I don't know. This is not really important, I think. What is important is this guy. I really like this guy. It's a thing I bought. I don't know if you hear the difference. I can use the spreader a little bit, boost a little bit the 10K. I have a little bit of I boost a little bit here in the lower mid range. Apparently, I cut a little bit in the higher mid range. I have a little. This is sort of limiter, but I do the mix like it's sort of parallel limiting or parallel compression kind of thing. It's very minimal. I always like to do things very minimalistic. I have the UAD tape, the Ampex one. I really like that one. Not sure if you hear all this. Ah, yes. Especially this one. And I use usually this. I use that a little bit to EQ. This is sort of like my low and high. I really like to use that on the Ampex a lot. If you don't know where it is, you can open and close it here. Oh, for some reason it doesn't want to close. Let's see. For some reason you can't close it anymore. But that's pretty cool to use. Other thing, Soothe. You know, I sometimes use this for the sharpness. A little bit, you know, just to tame a little bit. I'm a very lazy mixer also. I just don't, you know. This is the ozone. I usually have it like do a little learn. You can go here, you can have relearn. Then it finds a thing. I usually, you know, check the EQ, maybe take things down that it does, and I do it myself with my own EQ. Then the stabilizer, I usually take down the stabilizing thing. The impact, I always check on, off. If it's nice, it's nice. And I take down the amount. If I really like it, I keep it in. The imager, I usually make sure that the bottom I take out so that I'm not like imaging the low end. But for the rest, I really like to boost this a little bit. I make sure this is not on. I don't like to stereoize. It creates too much phasing. Dynamic EQ, I usually leave in place. It has a good hunch for faster things. Then the maximizer, I set it to like -1 and the threshold. And here depends on what it says itself as well. The soft clip I usually take away. This I play around till I have something that sounds nice. That's on the like the more mastering level. And then I have here the Pro L. The Pro L goes to -0.9, whatever. Yeah, you know, I keep it like quite low because then it sounds good on Spotify. I had like -0.3 and then I got a little bit distortion. So I'm not, you know, I'm not an, I don't want to be sounding like the expert in mastering. I've been doing it only for like a little bit more over a year myself, and with the things that I think are sounding good. I'm still experimenting a lot with it. That's the only way to learn, right? Also for yourself, if you want to learn a lot, the only thing that's keeping you from being a professional or being a master in something is by doing it a lot and comparing and experimenting. And here I was experimenting a little bit with the -1 and the -0.9 to keep it very soft, how that would sound in the Spotify's compared to the ones I did on -0.3, which is something I'm currently looking into. Yeah, punchy. I used the punchy preset in the Pro L, and I just like do the look at, open the attack a little bit because it's the second limiter, so it doesn't need to be super on point. But then you get like it's just taking away. If there's something peaking, it will take it out. You know, that's really nice. LUFS is nicely -8. it has a lot of dynamics. I don't like to kill all the dynamics. I'm not in EDM. I'm making like house music, which I think should be a little bit breathing and not too flat. Oversampling is really important. If you want, you can watch some of the videos of FabFilter on their website. They have a really nice learning part on their website where you can learn a lot about the functionality of the L2, why are these settings like oversampling important, true peak limiting, all this stuff. You'll learn a lot about this. Watch the videos on the FabFilter page. Anyway, this was the breakdown of No Control. I will do the other one as well, Your Love. There's a remix from my friends Lathouwers and Vibo from Belgium. I'm going to play in Antwerp soon for them. If you like what I do, please support the cause. Get the track on Bandcamp or get one of my sample packs, one of my videos, follow a course, reach out if you have questions, drop a comment if you like this, subscribe, anything. I'll see you at the next one. Ciao.